Hi, Philip.
Hello.
Hi, Silas.
Hi, Ronnie.
I saw you yesterday, but only from a distance.
Yes. Great work, Philip, and the rest of the team on that event. It was really lovely.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. Let's see.
Oh, Liz is here. Great.
Am I on? I don't even know if this thing is on.
Yeah.
Yep. How
It's
are you?
on, and you're on early, Liz. Wow.
Is it meets at 6:30?
Six.
No, 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hi, Milan.
Hello.
Suspect the Holy Roman security, and they are being sued for negligence as well as pain and suffering. And this is what we know so far.
Jay is here. It's awesome. We've been so good on getting a quorum. It's just great that everyone is so engaged and we're all here and we come to our meetings. It allows us to move forward. What are we missing? Alex.
Hi, Philip. I just sent something to you and Rani with regards to the Gaza statement. I was, still working on the other one, so I don't know if you have the ability to put that up on screen at some point in the meeting.
Yep, I can put it up.
Cut and paste or something.
Well, if we put it up, we can edit it all together. So
Mhm.
that would be great.
Mhm.
So we're just waiting for Alex, I guess, at this point.
You do have a quorum if you want to start.
So yeah, I think we should just get started. So it is now 6:02 p.m. and I'm calling the Human Rights Commission to order. Um, Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Act of 2021, this meeting will be conducted via remote means. Members of the public who wish to access the meeting may do so via Zoom or by telephone. No in-person attendance of meetings of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. Sorry, my printer's not working very well, so I'm reading very blurry text. So welcome everyone. I guess we start by calling attendance. Milan,
Here.
Liz,
Present?
Rizwana,
Here.
Silas,
Here.
Ronnie, yes. Jay,
Present.
Alex. Alex is not here, but we have a quorum, so we'll continue. So welcome everyone to the very first meeting of 2026. Really glad, as I mentioned before recording, that we're all so committed and it's so important for all of us to show up if the Human Rights Commission is going to take any action at all because we need a quorum. And we're very fortunate that that is not a big problem for us, that we all show up. And I have to say, I certainly appreciate it very much. Thank you. Are there any announcements before I go into the agenda? I don't have any. Okay, so today we're going to we'll open with public comments, have member reports, look at the minutes, talk about the HRC video, the Gaza statement, the Venezuela statement, discuss immigration a little bit, and then have the DEI update and anything more that comes up toward the end. So let's start with public comments. Is there anyone in the public here?
You do have one person.
Okay, now is the time to speak. During the public comment period, the chair will recognize members of the public. When called on, please identify yourself by stating your full name, preferred pronouns, and residential address. Residents are welcome to express their views for up to 3 minutes at the discretion of the chair, based upon the number of people who wish to speak. No speaker can cede their time to another speaker. The HRC will not engage in a dialogue or comment on a matter raised during public comment. So we're now open to public comment. Okay, let's go with member reports next. Are there any reports? Silas?
Hi. Yes, I had reached out to Vincent O'Connor, who I don't know if they were in the audience or not, but it was an individual who connected with us after we met with them after our kind of presentation of the bylaws, etc. And we had a brief conversation about their concerns about essentially proposing a series of ordinances to help level the playing field between kind of landlords and tenants. They also sought to address some kind of rental housing safety issues that, and I think the other piece was around requiring public schools / APD pre-planning. And so I'm not sure where that will evolve or go to. I'm still trying to get a meeting on the books to discuss it more in depth and what those might that look like. But I just thought I'd give an update on where that stands now.
That's great. Thank you. Any questions for Silas? Vince had asked to come. Go ahead, Liz.
Did he explain, I mean, you said like something between APD and the schools, and what is he looking for? What is he trying to access? What is he asking? Are we talking about the security officer in the school? We do have a security officer liaison that's gets called when stuff happens within the school. So I'm not sure what he's looking for when he's asking for us to do certain things. It's just like when we don't have the jurisdiction over the housing authority when it comes to what he's asking for. So I'm not sure what he's looking for when he says he wants to talk to us about certain things. So I would suggest that either he contact or you contact Ronnie and or Philip or Pamela directly and have him sit down with the four, Alex and Ronnie as our chair and vice chair, Philip and Pamela as our supervisory staff, and try to figure out what exactly he's asking, because I'm not sure with what you said exactly what he's asking.
Thanks for that point. I think that what I was pulling from was information that he had emailed me, and it is unclear to me what those nuances might be. And I'm happy to follow up with Ronnie and Philip, or I can have a meeting with him initially and then kind of escalate to Ronnie and Philip with some more clear, tangible action items if I think that it's aligned with what the Human Rights Commission is seeking to do. I'm curious what Ronnie and Philip think about that.
Well, I'm perfectly fine having you continue to follow up, because I remember that I put you two together at that meeting, you and oh God.
Vincent.
Huh?
Vince,
yeah. Oh my God, I really feel like I'm getting old. Excuse me. I know that Vince has lots to talk about, and I agree with Liz that the point is, what does he want from us? And then I think it's fine if he wants to talk to us, to come and talk to us. We like to be open. But also it's important to have an agenda, and I'm perfectly comfortable having you follow up with him, getting back to us. Rizwana, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I actually have talked to Vincent also on and off, and he does have a lot of issues, but he doesn't have any kind of a basic focal point. So he just, if you Silas talk to him, you will be not going too far with him. So it's better if you just have Rani or Philip. They will have extra time, and they have office hours.
Well, thanks for the
I'm gonna leave
suggestion.
it to Silas because it's all, he's already in touch with Vince. And I think that every person in this town, as long as they have a reason to talk to us and wants to talk to us, should be allowed to come. We're open to the community. So I think Silas, I have confidence that Silas can manage it unless you want to say something more, Silas.
It looked like Philip was about to.
Yeah, all I was gonna say, Silas, is just that if it certainly whatever the commission would like to hear, definitely have the commission here. But if it is something for another committee, maybe direct them in that way, like the Housing Trust or the CSSJC, if it's something that they are doing. I think that would make the most sense because I would hate to waste anybody's time to come to the commission to hear you should go to the Housing Trust with that concern when it could just have already happened.
Thanks. All right, I will bring those points back to him and just follow up and then close the loop hopefully at the next meeting. But appreciate everyone's thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, if he has something to say, we should be open to hearing him. I just, from what Silas said, I'm not sure what he's asking. So that would be something that we try to figure out first, and I'm sure Silas, of course, if he has something more specific, you can, like Philip said, we sent him to the correct town entity for his concerns. So thank you.
Are there any other reports? Well, I wanted to give a report. Last week, I went to Springfield to a meeting that was organized by an NGO, immigration NGO there, and the State Office for Refugees and Immigrants. And they were doing what the state has talked about, but I didn't really know how it worked. So I went to see. And basically, they invite people in the community who need legal services but don't have a lawyer or don't know how to find a lawyer to have a short consultation with a lawyer for free. So they bring all these immigration lawyers from Boston to here. I mean, they arrive in a group and they all had these little offices in a church where they had private consultations. And while that was going on, there was a session with everybody there where general questions could be asked, and there were experts and officials from the state to give answers. And it struck me as really important for two reasons. One was that the state has a lot of resources for free legal help, a lot of resources for what to do if a family member is detained, if you're detained, etc., that are very concrete. And the second thing that was very striking to me that you don't see I haven't seen in Amherst is how frightened people were. There was one woman who just walked past me in the aisle because she was being called and she had all her papers with her. And I think I'll never forget the look in her eyes. Anyway, I think we, the Human Rights Commission, should be aware of this, and we can talk more about immigration in general and what it has to do with us, because I put it on as an agenda item, but the report pertains to this particular meeting. And we had actually been asked, they asked me when we were working on the training that we finally did in October, if we would be willing to host a thing like that where people would come, but I couldn't, my networks couldn't generate the people who would have the trust to come and have these confidential interviews, because you do have to register if you want it, but it's all held very close. I thought they did a really good job. I felt very honored to be there. That's my report. Anything else?
Just finishing,
Okay, go ahead.
just finishing the conflict of interest.
Yeah, me
I'm
too.
not sure if I should say this or not, but I'm going to say it. And if it's a conflict of interest, Philip will let me know and tell me to be quiet. But my son's girlfriend is an independent immigration lawyer. So if you have folks that are questioned, please contact me. I can contact her to see how to proceed. She's independent. She does get some referrals from certain law firms that she used to work for. But she can help if we find somebody in a dire situation, at least point them in the right direction.
That's very helpful. Thank you, Liz. Any other comments? Okay, let's go to our minutes then. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? I move to approve the minutes from the last meeting. Jay, seconding? Okay. Motion is passed, minutes are approved. HRC video update.
Have to do a vote first.
Ronnie, sorry, you're gonna have to do a roll call vote.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Where's my list? Milan? Say yes if you approve.
Yes, I approve.
Liz?
Yes.
Rizwana?
Yes, I approve.
Silas?
Yes.
Ronnie, yes. Jay?
Yes.
Alex?
Yes.
Okay, motion is approved. Sorry, I forgot the vote. All right. The next agenda item is the HRC video update. Who would like to give us that update? Milan, Jay, one of you.
Well, I think that should be Milan's thing because he last worked on that and he spent numerous hours in the studio. And so I think, we on the HRC are incredibly grateful to him. I think that should be minuted somewhere for his hard work all the way from the time of the recording up till this month. So, yeah, I mean, he should report on that.
Well, I guess there's not too much to report beyond what I initially had done. It was the final draft is completed. It's public, so I believe that was supposed to be the case. It was made public, and I don't know. Are there any questions or?
Where is it public? How would people find it?
It is on. You can actually access it directly on the Amherst Media web page on the YouTube page. There's a link. If you go to our videos, then there is the HRC video right there. I've also sent the main link around, so that would be the link directly to the video.
Also, it is on the HRC's website.
Great.
Yes. Okay.
Awesome. Is there anything else people would like to do with regard to the video and its dissemination? Are there any thoughts about anything else, or can we consider this done and thank Milan?
Thank you, Milan. Thank you,
Thank
Jay.
you, Milan.
Yes,
Thank you, Milan and Jay. Milan,
Yeah, and Jay.
we can't thank you enough. You jumped right
Yeah.
in. Brand new member. I think you've done more than some of us have in a longer time, let me say. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jay, you have your hand up.
Yes, one other thing that we did talk about, I guess in passing, but we need to formalize this through the committee, is that, what is the next step, beyond this, project? And there are a couple of things that come to mind. Number one is introducing of subtitles in other languages that could reach the local population. For example, the language of Tibetan, possibly Mandarin and Spanish as well. So, I mean, those are the big three that I would consider. And then the second thought that I had was the attempt to then condense the overall content of the video into some other formats, for example, pamphlets, or like in the form of the red cards that we distributed, so that we could reach a broader audience who may not have access to this link that is available in the town.
I find that really, I think I'm really happy to move forward with all of that, especially the translation, which I think we talked about. I think we need a small subcommittee to carry this forward because it involves, again, quite a bit of work. Do we have some volunteers who want to work on the translation? Alex raised her hand.
I think
Cool.
though, as far as the I don't know if you're talking about the actual spoken language version or just subtitled, but I do believe in YouTube you can actually toy with captions in other languages. So I believe it can actually automatically translate it with certain features.
Is there a way if somebody was to access the video that it would say that if you know, sometimes when you have to do something online, it asks you English or Spanish or whatever,
Yeah.
and then they can click. So is there a way, Milan, for Amherst Media to put something out there where somebody could click the language that they're requesting?
I haven't actually looked at the settings of how to do it, so I'm not quite sure how it's going to look like in the end result. But my guess would be that it would be under the same options that you would use for the captions. So you probably just select the language to the language choice. So I guess maybe depending on the languages offered or the ones that we could get decent translations for, then we could probably just list that there are options in that language for the video within the description.
And the second point is, and I think this may be for Philip because it might request a little bit of money. Is there a way to access our language interpreters from UMass to do some language modifications for the video?
We certainly do have money to do so. So that's the first half of that. The town has an earmark from Mindy Dom to do language translation. The scope of the project would need to be defined because obviously if we're doing 80 plus languages, that's going to be very costly and that probably will not happen. But if we're doing 3 languages, that we can hone in on, then yes. I will say that for auto translations on videos, and I'm looking at the site for the HRC, there is a way in which you can do closed caption and videos. And of course, that is most likely through AI. So I think getting the correct translation would be probably better. But I'm scrolling down and I see like at least 80 languages that one can access for the video in closed caption.
I don't know enough about this, but does anyone know, like, Philip, do you know how effective or easy those things are? And if we refer it to somebody who doesn't speak English, how hard is it to?
Yep. So normally, in my experience with people that are non-native English speakers, they have their computer already set up in a way in which translation exists in that. So it is getting better on most websites, and I will say that the town is working to be better on our website. There are some hiccups in there. It's not a foolproof translation on websites, but like ours, we have Google Translate where, you automatically have that option to make everything translated from the website into your spoken language that you choose. And then you can then access and go around into those videos. I think the problem lies in probably like in the video, how there's wording in the video of what is happening when we cut to a scene and then there's something up there that is not being translated because no one is speaking that, so that's not being translated in the video.
Okay. Well, would you be able to put this on the DEI newsletter, which a lot of people read, as a thing about the Human Rights Commission, just something, and let people know in your thing, in your newsletter, that it's accessible in multiple languages and so on?
Yes, I can definitely do
That
that.
would be awesome. Any other thoughts on the video? There's still the part that Jay talked about with regard to our sort of education mission, which is, should we take part of this and redistribute it in different formats, redistribute the core information in other formats? I think it's a great idea, but honestly, I just don't have the time, so I can't work on it. If we all think it's a great idea, but nobody has time right now, let's put it on next meeting agenda to see if, we can think about it and see if by then some of us can see a pathway to doing more with the video, because so much effort has been put into it.
Are we thinking about having something similar, like a wallet size handout, or is that what you were thinking, Jay?
Yes, I just think that, that kind of information, which is in the video, it runs for about 13 minutes. People may not have the time for that or even have access, right, to the links. So this information generally needs to reach the students in the schools, their parents, any sites where there could be, dangers lurking on their selves and their status in the town. They should know their rights, which is what this video is basically about. So it's about summarizing that intent and, being as effective as the red cards were. There's a lot of legal information, but it is on that tiny red card, which I hold aloft here. This is the thing, it's just so much of information packed in one small thing. And I think it's doable. But, like Rani says, we still need volunteers and workers to get, to that work. But I think in terms of reaching the town of Amherst, this is an effort that has to happen. Otherwise, it's going to look like, like a video on a shelf that nobody's going to view really, because it's
Yeah.
30 minutes.
Agreed.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm going to suggest that if you all get us one or two of you that would like to help out, I'm going to say that our interns can help out with this project and they can create some, they're a lot better at it than I am, can create some type of format which we can do in-house at the DEI office. Just I don't want to leave it completely to them, so I would like someone, at least one person, to jump on, and that could just be, like, hey, that looks great, or hey, let's change this. It doesn't even have to be a full meeting. It can happen on emails. And with that, also, don't hold me to it, but we may be able to do it in Spanish between the three of us also, since they are also Spanish speakers.
So Alex has her hand up. Alex?
Yeah, I can do that.
Perfect. So they come back
Great.
in 2 weeks, so I will inform them of their new project that they'll be working on, and then we'll get ready with that.
Okay, great. So very excited about the video. Shall we move on to the Gaza statement? So basically, we talked some weeks back about doing a statement on Gaza, and we have a subcommittee has developed a draft. So we're going to look at it now, if Philip can share it. And if we think it's ready, then we'll move to accept and have discussion.
Yes.
Is-
Okay, here we go.
So the first one is the one that was in the packet. The second one is an amended version, so I don't know how you would like to proceed, Ronnie.
Really, the difference between the first one and the second one is that the second one, instead of just referencing the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, it references specific other, we can't really see it on the screen, Philip. Yeah. What happened to it? The idea was that it was intended to reference.
Is it there?
No, it's not. Oh, yeah, it does reference the Geneva Conventions and the Hague Regulations, which are actual laws that pertain to how military occupation should treat the people, the civilians who live there. So yeah, I guess this is not the version that I saw last. So I would encourage everyone to read the second read the versions, and then we'll talk. Can we just take 2 minutes to read through this? Unless, Jay, you want to talk us through this.
Well, I mean, the first one was something that Rizwana and I worked on. And we had the basic information there, the sentiments of what we wanted to say, the sympathies and the various issues involved, like access to medical attention, food access, shelter, those kinds of things, as well as international compliance with international agreements. So we had that there, but the language and the style was not comporting with what HRC had previously done with its statements. And so, Philip raised questions about the style, and I agree with him. It wasn't, I think, consistent with what they have done in the past. So I rewrote that same sentiment in the first part, and then Rani, you wrote back and said, but the charter is not good enough. We need to include some other international law issues. I agree with you. And I think it became stronger. But when I saw that, it also became far wordier to me, and it felt too legal in the sense that we don't have legal clout in the HRC, and we don't have the force of the courts in terms of compliance. So it seemed a bit strong to me in that way. So I try to find some balance. So the second statement, which reads as expresses its deepest sympathies to all civilians. I thought about prisoners, but I'm not sure whether they should be included or not, caught in the Gaza conflict, and then regardless of race, ethnicity, and national origin. In the light of the dire humanitarian crisis, we call upon all parties, I don't know whether we should include non-violently or what have you in that, were to actively facilitate the delivery of medical care, food, and shelter to those afflicted. We further emphasize the rights of all residents must be protected in accordance with the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and establish international frameworks. This here sort of summarizes what Rani was talking about in the last note she sent to me, including the Geneva Conventions and the Hague Regulations, which mandate humane treatment and the preservation of basic human necessities. So that's where we stand right now. This can still be changed if you wish, or amended in various ways.
Thank you, Jay. I think it looks really good. I would add just one more thing, and that is where it says medical care, food, security, and shelter. There's a lot of violence in these places, and the UN does articulate security as a key priority along with food and shelter.
Agreed.
So the only thing that's
maybe security should be the first thing. Keep them safe first.
They don't have security. They're not getting medical care. They're not getting food. They're being asked to leave their homes.
Exactly. So we need to, I think, prioritize that. Yeah.
I think the Geneva Conventions is too vague because there are so many conventions and they're so broad. I think it should specify the convention. I forget which it was. I'm sorry. I know it sounds like, but there is a convention that, Yeah, it was in my note to you, I think, but there's one that specifically talks about people who are occupied, people under military occupation. And I looked it up because I knew there was one somewhere.
I think it's okay to keep that vague because then it will include all the conventions.
Hmm. It would include prisoners if we keep it vague, which is a good point. Okay. Any other thoughts or comments?
I think we should include I think we should add religion in where it's talking about race,
Race.
ethnicity, and national origin.
Yeah. Hmm.
Where would you all like to see that?
Where it's grouped with at the first paragraph,
Okay, so race.
regardless of race, ethnicity, religion, or national origin, I think it should say. Oh, well, I guess in both spots then. It's on there twice.
Well, one of the protections include protections from violence, torture, and humiliating treatment is part of the language that I'm seeing here. There's a lot actually, but as Jay said, we don't want to go overboard with the details.
Yeah, because I just think, people will start to, nitpick
Right.
on the small things.
Mhm.
So if we simply said humanitarian crisis, it could really be about anybody afflicted in the region. So you're not picking and choosing. It's about anybody involved in the crisis.
For clarity on my end and possibly others, are we only looking at the second paragraph? Do we want to just get rid of the first?
Well,
I
I mean,
would
the
say,
first
yeah.
one was the draft that I sent in to you guys, and then Rani changed that, and then I changed it again, and that's the third one.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
this is
we're
actually the third one that
we're getting rid of the highlighted then, correct?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
I think the words in light of could be changed to simply given.
I think it would actually sound better to say in response to the dire humanitarian crisis, and that we make this demand. Mhm.
Yeah, I thought about nonviolence resolutions. I don't know how to word that in, or how to insert that thought somewhere while keeping it brief.
Well, I don't think we have to say everything that we want to say. Like, I feel like if I started writing everything I want to say, it would be several pages long. But if we can make it short enough that people will read it and understand it, that it will be accessible to people, then I think that's good. That's good. Other comments? Okay, let's take a motion to approve this statement. Who wants to make the motion?
I motion.
Sorry, was that Silas?
Okay, I'll second it.
Was that Silas? Well, you have to say that you moved
Yes.
to.
I move to motion.
I second it.
Is that acceptable, Philip?
Yep.
Don't you have to say what the word motion is? You have to say you moved to approve the
Oh, yeah.
statement on
Yeah.
Gaza, etc. You have to say
Yeah.
exactly what the motion is.
You don't have to read the full motion. You can say you motion to approve the Gaza statement.
I motion to approve the
Move
Gaza
to-
statement. Thank you.
Okay, seconds.
I second it.
Thank you, Rizwana. Let's take a vote. Okay, I'm going to call the other way. Alex,
Yes, approve.
Jay,
Approve.
Ronnie approved. Silas,
Approve.
Rizwana,
Approve.
Liz,
Approve.
Milan.
Approve.
Okay, the motion is passed. It's anonymous. Thank you. Let's go to the next thing. Boy. So this statement started with Venezuela. I guess it still rests with Venezuela. While all this was going on, we also, the town council put forward a resolution that had to do with human rights. I read part of it in the newspaper, but Philip has it if we want to look at that and think about. I just want to offer the option. I have no issues with this, to sort of think a little more broadly, because the piece of their resolution that I read addressed more stuff, and I don't know. Can we look at that, Philip?
Yep. Give me 1 second to pull it up.
Not the first sentence, but the substantive part. It's also good to try to work with the town council. It's too bad they didn't talk to us, but it doesn't matter because they did the right thing.
Can you all see that?
Yes.
Well, now that I've read it again, I actually withdraw what I offered unless somebody wants to do something with this. I just think it's a great statement. I'm glad our town council did it.
Yeah,
But it's
yes, I
different
mean-
from what we were trying to say.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, Jay, go ahead.
Yes, I think that the statement is quite appropriate for a town council. It's not appropriate for the HRC. So we need to zoom in on what we do. We deal with human rights, and we deal with human rights violations. Certain things overlap. For example, due process, obeying the tenets that are enshrined in the Constitution and those kinds of things that do protect process. And so how the happenings played out in, let's say, Venezuela, in my view, doesn't comply with all of those things, but that might be outside the scope of the HRC. So here, my attempt was to focus in on those who are affected. And I'm concerned for the safety of those who may have a national origin involving Venezuela in the town of Amherst, including those in this nation, because they could be targeted. And so when you have certain groups targeted in that way, any human rights organization should stand up for those minority rights. And that was my attempt in drafting this. I think it can be improved upon.
Okay, let's, Liz, were you saying something?
I have a different take on it
Mhm.
than Jay does. I think this is very clear and direct. And I also think that one of the things we could do is begin with our own statement and say something and that we also believe in the statement presented by our town council and put a link there that they can read that statement as well. So I don't know if I said that correctly, but I like what is written here. And I think it covers a lot. And we could latch on to it if that's the proper phrase.
Other thoughts?
Would this response to this statement be separate from our statement on Venezuela, or are we trying to like combine the two? I'm just not
The current
clear.
statement that you're looking at is in response to Renee Goodwin
Renee, good,
at the town
good.
council that are good, sorry. That the town council stated on their January 12th meeting.
So are we trying to like respond to this statement and do a statement on Venezuela, like two different ones, or
I
combine?
believe Ronnie, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think Ronnie is just highlighting the statement that was made and trying to draw upon some language to include into the Venezuelan statement.
And I've withdrawn that. And I think Liz's suggestion was, but instead of completely not connecting to it, is there some way that in our statement, which Jay wrote, we could also say that we support this and have a link so whoever's looking at our statement can use the link to go to this statement from the town council. Is that correct, Liz?
That is correct.
Great. So I'm going to scroll up then to the statement that was in the packet, and however you guys would like to amend it, let me know and I will do my best to capture it.
I have one suggestion, and that's to remove the word innocent, not because they aren't innocent where this is concerned, but I feel that well, it's complicated. Can we just say well-being of the Venezuelan people instead of characterizing them? Would that
Well, we
make you
could. I
feel
mean,
okay,
but
Jay?
prior statements issued by the human rights does use the word innocent in that. That's the reason I included that.
Mhm. It's not required just because we
Yeah.
used it before.
True. Yeah, I mean, I think it's appropriate. I mean, it's fine to take that out. In fact, we took that out also for the Gaza statement.
Yeah, that was me.
Oh,
That was because I was looking at the laws, and the laws reference civilians very clearly. And a lot of what's going on in Gaza, I wasn't thinking as deeply as you were, Jay, about the prisoners. I think it's fine to say it if we're going to talk about specific groups. Like, to me, a prisoner is a civilian. But I'm wondering, there's something about innocent that has a judgment that is not needed, I feel. I mean, it's something you can get hung up on.
true. I think it's okay if that's removed. It will still work.
Mhm. Thank you. I appreciate that. Other comments?
I have a stylistic comment. I think it should read the Amherst Human Rights Commission for consistency with the previous above.
Good.
You take out of, oh, there it is. Never mind. I was going to say take out of Amherst, but it's taken out already. Never mind. Bye. Not bye.
In my question is from a very practical standpoint. Who are we calling upon? What parties? Because there is one obvious party who is an aggressor, and then there is another party who is uh, not really doing much. They can't really do much. So who are we talking to?
I mean, these are not political parties. You know, when
Right.
you use the term party, you know, we're talking about all folks involved in various organizations, um, you know, all around the world, whether we're talking about, you know, groups inside of Venezuela, groups inside of the United States, groups within the town, human rights groups, non-human rights groups, you know, political parties perhaps, but it really means anybody involved or has a stake in that, in the welfare of any Venezuelan.
So then shouldn't we just be calling upon our own government for that then? Because it is our government who is committing these, they are the party that is committing these acts. They're not being met with a violent confrontation from the Venezuelan people or government. So by us stating this, it just seems to zoom it out to no accountability. So it's just a very broad statement that doesn't really seem to have much meaning in that last sentence. Like I understand the drive for nonviolence, but if somebody is running after you with an axe, like you don't really get a choice over nonviolence. So we should be addressing the one who's holding the axe, not the one who's running from it.
Well, there's also the issue of, you know, military rule within Venezuela under the old regime. And there were human rights violations there too. So, you know, like Rani says, you know, we can't pass judgment on all these various groups and subgroups. It's easy to say, everybody take a breath, pause, no violence, can resolve your differences. So by keeping it broad in that way and not targeting any one group and saying you are guilty, it makes it actually more powerful because new groups could join, new old groups could exit. We don't know, you know what is going on there. And it is something that is still dynamic. It is something in motion. So since we can't apprehend all those moving parts, by simply saying we call upon all parties, it really includes anything that has power to effect change in that space.
Exactly. But not all parties have that power. But we also, this statement is really only coming up in response to US action in Venezuela. We didn't have this statement in general for the Venezuela government's actions. So that's what I'm saying is we're making this statement now in response to obviously to US action. So if we're trying to make a whole general statement and we're doing this now after in response to it, then like we should have been making this statement a long time ago if we're trying to be as fully encompassing as anybody doing wrong in all places at any time. You get what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah, true. Except that now, you know, because of these actions, we have the UN talking, we have the EU talking about these things. The world are not, they're all parties. They have power, they have influence in these places. And because of that, it's hard to, you know, try to target any one group, even the aggressor in this case. Because that doesn't really solve and resolve things if it's just one target. We need the persuasive powers from all parties, all around the world, global folks, to influence the aggressor, to influence changes on the ground or what have you. So it's broad enough to encompass those moving parts. That's what I'm saying. Otherwise, it becomes, I mean, things could change in a week and then it becomes, you know, pointless. So what's the point? You know what I mean?
So Rizwana has her hand.
Yeah, I'd like to go along with what Milan is saying. Uh, Already, again, we are focusing on all parties' language in this reporting of human rights violation in Venezuela. It seems to be definitely misleading because we are failing explicitly to name the state as a primary actor, and basically you are diluting the accountability, and the state has monopoly on force. That is, we are not going into the chronology of the timeline, when the others were wrong. So because if we want to stay in present, the monopoly right now, this state has the monopoly on force, and all parties' language, it erases chronology. So who initiated what and when that becomes very diluted, and it is a false balance because of that. And it is basically benefiting those who are already in power, because there's nothing happening in the statement. That is also what is going on, because there's a false balance that all parties, when we say that,
So,
use that language.
so my view is that we're, as a Human Rights Commission, we are looking at things, at matters from a human rights lens. And that's a lens that isn't about judging anybody. It's a lens whose job it is to recognize fundamental human rights and dignity of everybody. Not every institution, it addresses people, of every single person. So and a human rights lens, as I see it on the world, is one that does not judge. And that makes some of us upset. I know it makes me upset. It just made Rizwana speak about it. It's not about who's right and who's wrong. It's about ensuring that everybody's human rights are protected. So it's really a completely different way of looking at conflict in the world. And I will say personally, this lens that I'm very attached to has helped me to look at and understand much of the world. And there is this idea that there's power in everyone, sort of, as Jay said, taking a breath and saying, what are we really doing here? And so I guess because of that, that is why I go with the all parties. And all parties is somewhat a technical term, I think, because in UNE's, it's recognized that there are lots of parties involved in any conflict. It's never, me against you and nobody else. There's lots going on, and that everybody has different kinds of power and has to bring that to bear. So I guess I'm supporting the all parties over a judgment about, it doesn't give us a solution to say, okay, you're at fault, you went and did this, because it's done. Rizwana, wait, is there anyone else before I go back to Rizwana? No? Okay, go.
Okay, so
Floor is yours.
This is mine. All right. So the all parties should be used in the other statement also, in the Gaza statement also then. I'm just saying, if hypothetically, we should be using all parties in Gaza statement also, because we are looking at all parties then. Because that
we didn't blame anyone in the Gaza statement. In this case, I heard the discussion saying that, there's a fault here, and that fault should be stated, and the statement should be directed at the person or country or whoever at fault. And I don't remember what we said specifically about this, but I would not have objected to all parties, because there too, there are multiple parties implicated. There wasn't any one blame, if I remember correctly. But that's past now. So let's go back to this. We're now talking, we can reconsider Gaza if the group decides we need to, but Venezuela is what we're talking about, right? So
yeah, because it more looks like a very bland all parties statement that can be plugged everywhere in every template. That's what I guess Milan is also saying. When we use the language that really is quite diluted and misleading, obviously. Because that is the problem, then that will just backfire. So what's the point of saying that statement? Because it is misleading.
Okay, Silas?
I'm curious how folks would feel if we framed it, we call upon all parties, and then comma, starting with our federal government or something along those lines, comma, to resolve their differences in nonviolent means. So the idea is that all parties are still involved, but it's also, I think, thinking about like Eleanor Roosevelt's idea of like if we are seeing human rights abuses abroad, we should start with places close to home. And I think that's really what we're trying to do. And so maybe it's kind of that idea of like how do we then call on our government to model the kind of nonviolent resolution that we're hoping to achieve. I'm curious how that tweak would land with folks, or if it still feels like it doesn't. It still feels like it shifts blame to someone.
I would not vote for that because I think that's not the human rights view lens on the world. I think that whole view of the world is looking at everybody, even our criminals, as people who have rights and deserve dignity. And just because we don't give that to people, we don't allow people to have dignity, doesn't mean they don't have a right to it. And so, yeah, but we can take a vote on it if there. I want to hear more discussion from some other people before we move.
What if we changed all parties to aggressors? All aggressors to resolve their differences in nonviolent means? Because it's our government that's blowing up boats full of civilians, one after the other. So those boats didn't really do much other than be in the wrong place at the wrong time. It is an aggressive and provocative action. It's also very illegal action. But as far as all parties, well, in that sense, it's very clear who the aggressor is. So if you want somebody to stop doing something, you should point out the person who's doing it and say stop. But if you don't want to be so specific, then all in the room who is doing something wrong, stop doing it. But that would be the closest I could get away from all parties to where it can at least sound more meaningful.
I can add to that if we just tweak it a little bit and say all parties responsible that are responsible. That's it.
Actually, that's pretty smart. If you simply say we call upon all parties responsible to resolve the differences, it solves everything there.
True.
And then also, I think the International Charter on Human Rights should be changed to the Universal Declaration.
Yeah, I was going to point that out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I can go with Rizwana's insertion of the word responsible, because I think that includes, Milan's thought as well. So who's responsible? And you're calling for, and the word responsible means that you're calling for accountability.
Yeah, it's very intense.
Yes. I think which is what Milan was, trying to get us to think about, be accountable for this, but the word responsible does that. Call upon all parties to resolve the differences in nonviolent means while adhering to I think we could use the same terms that we used in the last resolution, which was the, Geneva Conventions, the Hague Agreements, and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights.
Comments?
Yeah, just that.
I like that suggestion.
Liz, Alex?
I think I will probably abstain in the vote, so I'm just kind of I guess also gonna abstain from the conversation if that's okay.
Okay,
Yes.
And this looks good.
I'm not completely there, I'm sorry. But if we're ready to vote, we should.
Well, I'm not completely there either. I like
Uh,
I like the smaller statement with an
yeah,
attachment to what the town council said, because then it also
right.
says a unified front between us and other town entities when it comes to this what I feel like is an atrocity. But
Mhm.
sometimes simpler is better, and we already have a powerful statement from the town council. So that's just where I'm at right now.
Well, the town council statement, just to be clear, refers to Renee Good and the shooting of her by ICE agents. But I like that broader statement. I'm with you, Liz. I think this will be strengthened by linking to that. And I don't think all this, I liked the shorter first version. And I'm recognizing that the term all parties, it has a lot of meaning in international dialogue and discussion about conflict. It's not this weak thing, but in fact, if that's how two of our members understand it, then that's something that should be taken into consideration.
Yes, that term is
But
a rather common term used by the
yeah,
United Nations, all parties.
yeah,
Yeah, all
it's
parties
used
could
a lot. It's
Yeah,
not weak. It's
yeah.
quite strong.
But
But
phrases
when
and
you
terms are often used a lot, so much that they end up not really saying anything by the time they're done. And it seems that we live in, the world that we live in is one full of statements constantly, but no actual action. I was just, there was Canada's Prime Minister Carney was on speaking yesterday at Davos at the World Economic Forum, and he had mentioned that, the world system, that even though the way that it's set to function, everyone knows that it doesn't, but the ones who benefit from it play along because they benefit. And he was speaking about Canada and the current world system and the double standard that exists, and the double standard that everyone is aware of, but pretends like it's normal or it's okay. And we all continue with this double standard, even in the way that we look at the world and the way that we frame our statements. There isn't a balance in everything. And there isn't a balance in a lot of some of these things that we're making statements about. Even the United Nations, they can make statements too, but their hands are tied, regardless of how many statements they make. They're not able to follow through on something unless the Security Council, with support United States or some other big party says so. So there's so yeah, just basically it's we can talk about just statements all day, but even certain wording, it's fallen back on because it's easier to digest or get past, but it doesn't necessarily say anything or advance a particular point one way or the other.
So what do you suggest so that you would feel comfortable?
Well,
What would you say? I mean, how would you write it?
I know. I really did like the term like combatants because that is what we are discussing. We aren't discussing political turmoil under some kind of specific ruler. We're we're making a statement in response to violent acts that have happened. So if, as far as the statement goes, like the acts are in violation not only of international law, but also of US law. They're also in violation of our own Constitution. I think that if we're going to be making statements, we should also be making them directly to our own leaders as the ones who are committing these acts, and to the rest of Americans to understand that it's not a balanced approach, or it's not a balanced situation. If the US military says that they want something that you have, they can take it. Just that simple. They can call you an aggressor or a combatant or an enemy, but it doesn't make it true. So that's all I'm saying with that. So like, I get it with the statements and everything. It's just the all parties yeah, it's kind of like hearing all lives matter.
I would really take issue with that comparison, Milan, but I agree with a lot of everything that you're saying. I think maybe that we need to sort of revisit what the purpose is of these statements and who it's directed to and what is the expectation from it.
Well, I can tell you,
That would clarify a lot for me.
When I first, started to think about a statement of the sort, this happened, midstream while we were trying to get the agenda for this meeting. I was concerned first and foremost for those of Venezuelan descent who reside in the town of Amherst, because there were calls by the federal government for them to go home, to return to Venezuela, to self-deport. So my concern was for their safety, for their well-being in the town. And then that expanded out to the nation. Because one is of Venezuelan descent, are you a target? Yes or no? And that is even beyond anything that even happened in Venezuela. It is what is going to happen in the town, what is going to happen in the state, and this is a blue state, it's a target, and then you have the nation. So my concern was about the people, the human rights of the people who reside in the United States and especially in this town. And from there, I thought, well, you have to go to the homeland of where things happened. And so it broadened out from the town to the nation, and then to the country called Venezuela. So that was the attempt, to try to ensure that human rights in the town are observed, that there are safety precautions for them, that we as a group could provide some aid and comfort, even through a video, for groups like that. So it started off in that kind of way, and now we need to move forward to see how can we word this in a way that addresses the local population first and foremost, because that's our charge, and then make grander statements to link it out to the rest of the world.
So what you're saying, Jay, is very much what was on my mind for the next agenda item on immigration. It was this idea that we need to say something about all of us in Amherst who come from other parts of the world and who are vulnerable to being grabbed by masked militia with guns and sent off to Somalia or wherever they're sending people these days. And that our Supreme Court has allowed it to be legal to stop a person on the road just because of how they look. So these are some of the kinds of things that I was thinking about pertaining to us. And I'm wondering, given the time and given the nature of this discussion, if we should discuss some more outside the meeting in a smaller group and come back with a different statement. And we can certainly include Venezuela. I'm not saying we shouldn't. Can I ask what you all think about that suggestion? Because, we have a concern for the people in Amherst. 30% of our documented population are from somewhere else in the world. There's a whole other segment of people who drive our economy, who don't make any money. And they're all vulnerable. We are all vulnerable. So, the Venezuela, yeah. So I'm wondering if we can come to something that gets us at that, but I'm not sure where that leaves us with Venezuela specifically, because, Venezuela happened and the next thing it's Greenland. And then the next thing, it's not Greenland now, I think. I'm not sure. It's just so much is happening.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why, because of the global dynamics and the shifting natures. It is, look over there. No, I fooled you. Look over there. Kind of world that we live in currently. We are trying to get grips or come to terms with that. But we need to do our due diligence on this commission to say that there are people in the town who are traumatized because of their ancestral roots. And if it goes to a place called Venezuela, they are targets. And we cannot, with all due respect, be, quiet about that. We have to state we are concerned for their safety and well-being of those in our town and in this country.
I think it is a good point to start with trying to parse out what exactly we want from the statement, because it seems to cover two topics. One is domestic policy with immigration, which is a very big one, and Venezuelans have been targeted and also the protected status that some Venezuelans had was removed. But then also there's the matter of foreign policy as well, and U.S. aggression. And that is, I would say it's a whole different set of rules and laws that govern that action and what should be carried out then. So I think, if we just looked at what we want the statement to address or what specific area, it might be easier to kind of agree on what the specific wording should be.
Yes, I agree with that sentiment. And we have to acknowledge, I think that we all understand that what happens globally affects what happens locally. So what happens there does affect, the lives and the status of people in the town. So there is that continuum. So we have to have something. It's not two separate things in that sense. It's more like a continuum of the local to the global, and how to mediate across that space. But the overall sentiment is about articulating our concern in the commission for the safety of those who have a Venezuelan heritage and those in the home countries, because remember, those who are in the town also have families there.
Yeah. It's not just the Venezuelans. I mean, the Haitians lost their protective status also, and some others did. There's a lot going on here, which is one of the things I like about the town council statement, because it recognizes what a diverse community we are. And it tells our community that we are wanted here and safe here, and that to the extent that the town can make that happen. It's, to me, it read very powerfully, but I think this needs more thinking. And I honestly would suggest that the subgroup work on it, to talk more about it and come back with more ideas so we can come together to a conclusion about what are the parts of all of this that we want to make a statement about. Of course, on the one hand, our statement is not going to change anything for anybody else, but it's going to change for us as human rights commissioners. It's sort of for us, it's going to matter. So we need to say what we need to say. But it sounds like it's more complicated than we can resolve at this moment. So can I ask for a subcommittee to talk this through? How many people can we have on the subcommittee, Philip?
Two would be your max right now.
2 is the max? I thought we could have 3.
It is 3. I'd have to look. You might be able to have 3. Yeah, it depends on the amount of commissioners that you have. Right.
Oh,
Right.
I see. All right, so we've got 2. Is there anyone else who wants to join? Because we can switch. We can have those 2 for a while and then change the committee, I think.
I would like to.
Yes, so we have Milan and Jay. Anyone else?
Okay, I'll be there.
Okay, so at some point we'll switch. One of you will resign temporarily and Roswana can join.
Yeah, whenever. I have another question
Phil-
also that
Philip,
this
can we just finish this if you don't mind? Philip, can you coordinate that? Can they talk to you about who's on the subcommittee?
Sure. I think we'll start with Milan and Jay, and then from there,
We'll see.
wherever it makes sense, Milan and Jay,
Okay,
we can loop in.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, just the
Okay.
last thing I would like to share, would like to ask, while we are doing Venezuelan statement, why aren't we, I don't understand, why not Iranian statement?
Mhm.
So we have the same out of control kind of a situation, out of hand. Everything is got out of hand kind of a situation. So there's Iran, there's India, H-1B visas, then the US policy protests, so France also. So there's so many statements we can make with the same template. So do you see what I'm saying?
That's why I'm suggesting that we look at the whole thing, at the big picture. And what I liked about the town statement was that they did look at the big picture. So I think that needs more discussion because it is happening everywhere. And why Venezuela only? Why not Iran? So, yeah.
Well, I mean, then that feels like what Milan was saying, all lives matter kind of things, and then it becomes really watered down if we had to go.
That's why I think we need to talk. I don't think it's something that can be resolved quickly like this. I agree with him. I don't think all parties waters it down, but that's because that's language I'm familiar with myself. But I am concerned about the principle of watering down. We don't want to say, oh, it's all, violations of human rights, and it doesn't mean anything. So we have to be clear about what we do mean. What is it really that we want to highlight?
I think that it's okay for us to, think about specific areas. For example, we made one statement about the Gaza. It's one specific thing. There are still, dire circumstances. That is a thing. So we don't want to water down the Gaza statement with Iran and water that down with H-1B visas or what have you. So we got to do these things, in separate ways. And I don't think
you guys figure it out. You guys figure it out, because I'm not opposed to having 10 statements if that's what we want to put out. We have to decide what we want to say. So, I'm letting you figure it out. Is that all right? And I'm going to pass on the immigration update because I wanted to talk about this whole sort of broader set of violations that are happening and what and whether we want to do something about this. I just will let you know that does everyone know what the group LUCE, L-U-C-E? Say yes or no or something. No?
No.
Okay, so it's a group in Massachusetts that is actively helping people. They're monitoring where ICE is going, and they have a hotline you can call if you're in trouble. And they've actually helped get get people out of detention and help them with legal aid and so on. Anyway, there's a Lucy Amherst that has formed by this woman, retired sociology professor at UMass. And I wanted to invite her to come and talk to us about what she's doing. And she's recruiting volunteers, but I think now she has too many, but to talk about some of the supports for immigrants that are available here in Amherst. So I just wanted to announce that, and she'll try to come next month or the month after, one of these times soon. So let's move on to DEI update.
I'll jump in just really quick about Lucy. They are having an event on February 4th,
February 4th.
Which is a bystander training that you all help put on also in October. It does have a fundraiser type piece to it, so it is out there on the town's website on the community calendar, and it will most likely be in our newsletter.
I would really urge you to go. I know that Philip and I were the only ones at the one that we were involved in putting on in October, and it was very, very helpful. So I would urge you to go if you can at the church, First Congregational Church. Okay.
And I
DI.
will be brief with my update here. So the town is still doing trainings for staff. We've done department trainings. We have about 3, maybe 4 left to do before the fiscal year. So the ones that we've completed is Senior Center, Crest, Health Department, Recreation Department, Amherst PD, and Jones. The Human Rights Commission, you all got that on there. I have notes just to get myself in order here. Let's see, that was the Human Rights Day, was a great success. Everybody was there, you all know. Just want to
Yeah.
highlight and uplift that event. Really great coordination and everything put together from all parties that were involved.
I like all the parties.
Yeah, all parties
Yeah. Hey.
involved.
If you have not seen on our newsletter or at town hall, the DI department has created a display of the making of the Amherst Global Village Festival, and it's highlighting immigration stories. So please, if you have the chance to see it, go see it in person. It is available online as a digital copy on the DEI's website. Last night we hosted the National Day of Racial Healing. That was a really great event. It's something that we put on annually since the DI department has been in existence. It was celebrating the 10th anniversary this year, so it is always observed the day after Martin Luther King Jr.'s day. I was going to say birthday, but it doesn't always fall on his birthday, so Martin Luther King Day. And yeah, so that was a really great event. Youth programming that we have coming up is February 25th. It is a reality fair. One of our interns is really helping put that together. They experienced it when they were in high school. It's almost like the game of real life if you're familiar with playing life. So you pick a career, you get the salary for that career, and then you have to go through many tables to, choose what type of housing you want. You're going to live alone. You're going to have roommates. And then there's a spin wheel that has either great things or not great things from, you go out and buy a scratcher, you won $50, or you walk out to your car and it has a flat tire that you have to fix, real life situations that we all deal with. So it's really teaching kids financial literacy, which was a highlight from the survey that we did last year, that kids really said that was one of the focuses that they would like us to focus on in our programming. So that is in response to that. In March, every Saturday, we will be hosting the Youth Entrepreneurship Workshop that we hosted last year. That will lead up to youth being able to sell whatever it is they make at the Amherst Global Village Festival. So that will happen every Saturday. So if you know any youth interested in any of those programs, it's on our website, it's on our newsletter, it's on the town's website as well. So we're really trying to get that out as much as possible. And we are trying to get the schools to advertise that for us as well. Let's see. As you all know, Amherst Global Village Festival is April 11th at the high school, and so we are still looking for someone from HRC to possibly attend some of the planning committee meetings. If you're interested, I have listed out what dates and times those are, rather than try and figure that out. It's already the schedule is already there, so planning is underway already for that. Our partners in this are all helping out in the planning aspect of things. And so if anybody is interested, please let me know and we will get you on that committee. We've secured the space already and other things. The call for vendors, performers, and anybody interested in participating has gone out as of last week. I do know that the last time that I looked at that sign up, we had already 30 people interested. So we're hoping to grow and make that happen in a fun, positive celebration type of way and highlighting the various cultures that exist here in Amherst. And then that is probably it. No, actually, sorry. On February 2nd, we are going to be honoring Black History Month. It's the 100th year of Black History celebrations. It started out as a week and then led up into a month, so it is marking the 100th year. There is going to be a flag raising and proclamation reading from the town council starting at 6 o'clock on the 2nd. Prior to that, at 5 o'clock, the DEI office is going to be unveiling another panel display that we will be hosting and having up at Town Hall that will highlight and commemorate the 100th year celebration. We are focusing on local educators. One of your commissioners is highlighted in our panels here, Liz, as local educator, and we acknowledge that there's no way we could have everybody on display, but we have tried our best to make people highlighted in the community from the various colleges that exist and from the various schools that exist in town. And we hope to grow the project from year to year. So we hope to add more and more. So if you have suggestions of someone that did not make it, it is not on effort of not acknowledging them. It is rather just space time, but we will take any suggestions to add into our future displays.
Can
And
I just make one correction?
yep.
My second son was born in 90, not 99.
Okay, I'll fix that on the panel.
90. He might take exception to that.
Yep. And yes,
Okay.
so other than that, that is, I think, all that I got.
Okay, so thank you, Philip. Before we close, I just wanted to remind you that we need more members on the Human Rights Commission. We have 2 vacancies, and I know it's a great and active commission. So please talk to people you know, to talk to people they know. The fuller our membership is, the more like we could have had 3 on our subcommittee if we had more people. And as people apply, it seems to take a long time to actually get through the interview process. I think that was all our experience. So it's never too early to recruit. So is there anything more before we go to public comment?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, Jay. Silas. Yeah.
Oh, 2 things. One, Philip, I'd love to be involved again this year with the Global Village. And so where did you say the meetings were?
I will send you an email. I have a PDF that has that information.
Okay, thank you. And then the second thing was, I thought we had received a packet that included a proposal for supporting or co-sponsoring the Spring Festival / Lunar New Year celebration and proclamation. Is that correct?
Correct. So I was going to bring that up on any other agenda items just because it was posted and we received that after. So
Gotcha.
that is what I was going to raise my hand for, but I don't know. Do I pull that up right now, Ronnie?
Sure, go for it. And then we'll come back to you, Jay. Sorry.
So this is a proclamation to the town council that the Amherst Business Improvement District, also known as Amherst BID, is looking for a co-sponsorship. The DI department is co-sponsoring as well, and they would just like to know if you all would like to co-sponsor this proclamation for Lunar New Year, Spring Festival, and other.
So does this require a vote, Philip?
It would require a vote from you all if that is in support of it.
What does co-sponsorship mean?
It just basically means having your name or having the Human Rights Commission name attached to this. So basically agreeing that with what is written, you're agreeing with.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, let's do this quickly. I'm going to move that we co-sponsor the Lunar New Year celebration proclamation this year. I need a second.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion about it? Questions? All right,
No,
so
wait. Am I on live?
Yep,
yes,
What exactly are we co-sponsoring?
just the proclamation. So
What does the
bid,
proclamation say?
it's here on the screen.
right, it's on the
Oh, I
screen.
can't see it on this. Oh, there it is.
It was also sent as an email, I believe.
Yes, it
Mhm.
was in our packet, Liz.
Well, I must have missed that. I'm got everything else in there.
It did come in a little bit later. That's why it's under
Oh,
the
maybe
new
that's
item.
why.
Yeah, I was a bit confused at first because when I saw that, I was trying to figure out, so what's our role in this?
Oh, okay, I'm good. I'm okay with that.
Okay, so let's take a vote then. Where's my list of people? I'll start in the middle. Silas,
I support.
Ronnie, yes. Jay,
Yes.
Alex,
Yeah.
Milan,
Yes.
Liz,
Yes.
Rizwana.
Yes.
Okay, so the motion is passed.
So it's spelled commission
so
correctly.
we
There it is.
will
More S.
co-sponsor this.
One more S. When he was typing
Okay.
in commission, they missed an S.
I got it. Thank you.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Okay, shall we go to public comment? I don't see anyone in the public. So
Yeah, he was on earlier that has left.
yeah, our next meeting then is on February 18, 2026, 6 p.m. as usual. Okay, other topics. I guess we've dealt with that. Are there any other topics that we did not anticipate that have come up?
Yes, I mean, just 2 days ago was, Martin Luther King Day, and I think we on the Human Rights Commission should state our, affirmation and support of that holiday since it is under attack from various quarters, and DEI is also under attack. And given those kinds of things, we should state affirmatively that we support the work of the DEI, and which is, consistent with the sentiments expressed by the views of Martin Luther King.
I think both are worthy of our support, and I would suggest coming up with some statements, and we'll vote on it next time. Okay, because it's so late now. Is that all right?
Yes.
It's just a sentence. Maybe even Philip can come up with that. I'm not sure. That's not appropriate, is it? It's not your role. Members of the commission have to do that. Okay, in support of Martin Luther King. And
Well, I think we should combine it
holiday.
with Black History Month as we're heading into February as well.
Actually,
Yeah.
that's great. Is that something you could work on, Milan? Would you mind just a sentence or two for the
Sure.
next meeting so we can make it official and vote on it?
Mhm.
I can do
Great.
it.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Any other topics?
It's not a topic, but just an update. Many of you know that I sing with the Amherst Area Gospel Choir, And even though we're considered a gospel choir because our roots are in the gospel, we also do a lot of justice type work. And we also sing freedom songs and the like. And for the upcoming months, we have a number of engagements, one with the children of JFK Middle School as they honor Black History Month. We every year sing at the Amherst Survival Center, and Philip can be there. He can attest to that because he used to be the director there, and we would sing during their Black History Month celebration in honor of all human rights. Also, we have an engagement at Applewood, which is a community of the elderly, the Sojourner Truth Memorial, where we honor high schoolers who are rooted in Sojourner Truth's messages, the Frederick Douglass Not Our Fourth of July reading, and we're also doing honor of Dr. Horace Boyer at Porter Phelps in July. So I just wanted to point out that there's a lot of entities in the town that are doing some of the work in their own way as it supports human rights and the rights of those that are being unjust. And I do believe that last year we did sing in the Global Village is one of the things that we all support. And I do believe we'll be singing at that as well. So just to let you know that there are other town entities that are doing our kind of work in a different format.
Mhm. Thank you, Liz. Any other last minute comments before we adjourn? Okay, thank you all. It's been a longer meeting than usual, but I think we had important things to talk about. And I look forward to continuing the conversation next month. Thank you and Happy New Year, everyone.
I make a motion for the meeting to be adjourned.
Yes, we're now adjourning the meeting at 7:41 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.